Heidi Snow knows this as well as just about anyone, as she lost her fiancé in the crash of TWA Flight 800. So while struggling through her grief, she started a support group for families of air tragedies called Access. She joins me now from San Francisco. Good to see you, Heidi. So this is clearly tortuous for victims' families that at week 3 now, still no plane, no bodies, no confirmation of plane wreckage. So you believe most loved ones are still holding out hope that there are passengers and crew that are alive?
I remember so well this point in time, and we were gathered at the Family Assistance Center, similar to how they are, just holding out hope for answers, some sort of confirmation. And for me, it took 5 weeks before his remains were actually found. And in that time, I kept going back and forth. I held out hope. And all of us at Access, we've had over 1,000 of calls for help at this time from hundreds of different air disasters dating back to 1950. And everyone goes through this hope phase, and then the next hour we hold on to hope and really believe that maybe they are gone, but it's so hard to even imagine facing a life without our loved ones, with a future that's planned. And what's really difficult is usually the people who are in grief over this have lost the person that they would turn to during a time like this. So if they're in crisis, this loved one that they have lost is the person that they need most. And I remember that, and really needing him to get through it, yet he was the person who was gone. And so many people say that in our book. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and they all speak of the fact that it's so difficult because the person they really need during the hardest time of their lives is the person who's gone. And I feel for these families, and I just remember being at the site. We had people who were angry, we had people who were sobbing, we had people who were just completely in shock, even this many weeks out, because there are no answers. And I just remember waiting to hear, did they find my loved one's remains? And the hardest part was we actually had to leave the Family Assistance Center and go home, which is going to happen at some point with these families, with nothing. And I went home and tried to resume my life, but still I didn't have confirmation via remains that he truly was on board.
It almost seems as though this new experience, this search, is making you kind of relive everything you thought and experienced as if it has just happened again to you. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I mean, and we're finding that our phone lines have really heated up since this first occurred, from people from past air disasters who are all reliving their losses and wanting to talk about their loved ones again. And really, and a lot of people have come forward as well to volunteer and be there for others because they remember it so well and really want to help these families and be there for them. So it really brings us all back to day one. And as I'm seeing the footage on TV, I really recognize and remember so well what it felt like to be there and just not have confirmation, and to be waiting and to be all together with holding out hope. But at the same time, at this time, it starts to dissipate a little bit, and that transition is extremely difficult as well.
And then, Heidi, Malaysian authorities admit, they said all are lost. They said that just days ago, if not a week ago, the plane ended. But then today, when meeting with families, officials said they remain hopeful. And are they doing this out of the need of the victims' family members, or does this continue to confuse them, or does it indeed comfort them?
I think at this point that there's nothing concrete. So in any kind of answers they're given or beliefs they're given, none of it is tangible. So I think that without any remains confirming that their loved ones are actually gone, and without any physical pieces of wreckage, that none of these words really make a big difference. They're still going to go through holding out hope right now, and then going back and forth on the reality that they could be gone.
Heidi Snow, thank you so much, and your organization Access for those who want to check online and help to get a better understanding of what you and other victims of plane crashes have been going through. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Fredricka.